Thank you guys for joining me for another episode of Keeping It Real with America's Supermom. I am excited about my next guest. I believe we got connected through LinkedIn. It definitely says a lot about the power of reaching out to your connections. So I have with me Kimberly today. And before we get into some great conversation, getting to know each other, I want to give her the opportunity to say a few words and introduce herself.
Hello, everyone, and thank you so much, Lachelle, for having me on your wonderful show. It's such a pleasure seeing you face to face after talking so long on LinkedIn. Again, I am Kimberly Sellars Bates, founder and president of KSTV Enterprises. I am a native Atlantan, a Grady baby for those of you who are from here. I am a married mom of two young adults. One just graduated from college last year, and the other one is employed at the college that he graduated from. So I've been married 29 years and thankful that I have such a loving and supportive husband. He's the one who actually encouraged me to start KSTV Enterprises. So that's
Oh.
long and short about me.
Awesome. Well, you were kind of breaking up in the beginning. This technology is
Yes, yes,
crazy. It
yes.
does its own thing.
Well,
But it's
I
amazing. Did hear that you are in the Atlanta area, and I'm not far from you. I'm in Stockbridge.
oh my goodness. Well,
Yeah.
the first thing I said and I hope that they caught this piece, I wanted to thank you for inviting me to your amazing show. So, just in case that piece was cut off, I wanted to say it again. And that is so nice to see you face to face after we've chatted so much, so often on LinkedIn.
Yes. Well, thank you so much for coming. And that is just a blessing. And I'm looking forward to us possibly being able to connect in person then, since you're so close to me.
Yes.
It's so amazing how you get on these platforms and I don't know, we just think everybody is far away. And then when you find out, wow, they are just, up the road, I can really see them live in person. It just really is special.
I would love to see you in person. Stockbridge is not that far. I'm
Mm-mm.
in South Fulton.
Okay.
Yeah, so we can meet up and, have lunch or coffee or whatever your preference is.
I love that. I love that. Well, Imma take you up on that. Anytime I can get away and
Okay.
have some me time, okay? I got 10 kids still at home, so, hey,
Wow.
I can come up with some stuff. Awesome. So, I love that. So, you said that you have I couldn't quite hear what that was.
KSTB Enterprises.
Okay.
And I will tell you all that my husband actually came up with the name.
Mhm.
S is Kim Sellers, which is my maiden name. And
Mhm.
B is my husband, Tadaro Bates, Taylor Bates, our daughter, and our son, Tadaro Bates the second. So that
Oh.
he became about.
Awesome. Okay, so what was it that really I love the fact that you said he really encouraged you, supported you. What how did it start? Because I love how it sounds like he was that added push that you needed to get out there. So talk to us about that journey a little bit.
Well, in 1985, way back then, I was a stingette, which is a dance girl at Alabama State University.
Mhm.
And my husband was a marching hornet in that same band. He played
Mhm.
trumpet. So as a freshman, when I got there, things happened and we ended up being boyfriend, girlfriend during band drill. So we went all through college together. After we graduated, he worked in DC at the Pentagon, and
Mm.
I came back to Atlanta. He proposed on one of his trips back. Just came to see me propose. We got married, had the children, and I was working at an HBCU.
Mm-hmm.
And what ended up happening was people started to realize that I could write grants, I could establish them as 501c3s, I could incorporate them. So pretty soon I was working full time as well as staying up all night working for
Mm-hmm.
others. So I'm burning the candle at both ends.
Mm-hmm.
And he said, look, you're going to kill yourself. I can't help you because he said, I know nothing about grants. He said, why don't you step out on your own and do this full time? I said, are you kidding? Well, it really wasn't a money factor
Mm-hmm.
because when we had the children, I stayed off 2 years each with them. So
Mm.
we knew how to save money, how to budget, and how to live on one's salary. But I was still afraid because
Mm-hmm.
I had my own business. I'm sorry, I had my own career going.
Mm-hmm.
So he kept on, kept on. Finally, I said, you know what? Enough. I'm tired of hearing his mouth. I am going to resign. I want you to know I did resign and I was physically sick walking to the car because I said, what did I just do? I
Yeah.
resigned from my job. You know, when you're used to getting a paycheck on the 15th and the 30th, you know it's coming regardless.
Mm-hmm.
But now all of a sudden, I have resigned. So I walked to my car, went to pick my son up from school. Ironically, his principal was in the lobby. And
Mm-hmm.
he said, hey, I heard you find money for, schools and nonprofits. He said, we really need a marquee. Can you get us a marquee? Now, I had just resigned. I mean, like an hour before. And I said, sure, I can do that. We took a legal pad, wrote down how much he needed for this marquee, got my son, got in the car. That was my first client, my
Wow.
son's principal. And so picked my daughter up from her after school program. It was a math center that same day. Went to
Mm-hmm.
pick her up. The math center director said, hey, we need some buses. Can you help us with that? So I knew it was divine intervention because that's two clients in one day. And so that next morning, I hit the ground running, getting the money for the marquee, getting the money for the buses, and the rest is history.
That's awesome. I love that. Now, so so let's talk to the people watching about how they knew to ask you, because I think a lot of times people want to do a business and nobody knows they're in business. I, I do a
That's
number of
true.
things, right?
Yeah, that
I've
is
got
true.
some little side multiple streams of income.
Mhm.
And, you have this phrase where everybody says, oh, I had no idea you sold Mary Kay or
Exactly.
whatever, right?
Exactly.
So how
Exactly.
did they know that you
Sure.
were the person to go to?
You know what? The interesting thing is that it happened word of mouth so fast because
Mhm.
that was before Facebook.
Right.
It was before all of that. And even to this day, people come to me saying, hey, I heard, or you were referred. So it
Mhm.
was strange. People just started referring me. And I had my cell phone number. I still have the same cell phone number that I had in 1996.
Wow.
So yeah, so people were giving my number out. Plus, I was very active at my kids' school,
Mhm.
and I'm in a wonderful sorority, the best sorority in the entire world. As you can see, I have my pink and pearls on. But seriously, in my college's alumni association.
Mhm.
So you know what? It really was word of mouth. And my husband
Mhm.
and I decided that I would give it 1 year. He said, look, let's see if we can make this work. Give it 1 year. And if it doesn't work, you can always go back and get a job. So, but how it happened was word of mouth. When I would go to different meetings or different social events, people would say, hey, that's the lady I told you about who can find grants.
I
I
love
didn't
that.
even have business cards. So all those
Yeah.
things came afterward.
I love, I mean, you dropped so many nuggets, and I'm hoping people are paying attention because,
Yeah.
word of mouth, you were dealing with your
Yes.
network. The
Yes.
4 people that were in your circle, they
Absolutely.
knew what you did, and you were
Hmm.
all in for at least a year. I mean, now
Yes.
this is another thing. People want to straddle the fence and, oh, I
Oh,
don't know, going back and forth. So,
do
so
it.
many things you've said. So, I want to
Yes.
go to this piece because we have a lot of people that are faced, unfortunately, with just having one income because
Yes.
of
Yes.
COVID or
Mhm.
whatever. Now, you mentioned that you knew how to do it with just one income and having children. So, what tips would you give
Mhm.
to some of the moms that are watching on how they can maintain maybe their lifestyle or what changes they can make on one income?
Let me just say this to your listeners, and thank you all so much for tuning in.
Mhm.
I have been educating people lately on how to start your own business while working for someone else.
Mm.
Now, there is an art to it.
Mhm.
And when you ask me how we made it on one income, my dad always said to us, you need to learn how to make it on one income. We lived within our means. We did have
Mhm.
2 cars. I am a native Atlantan, so my mom and dad were here. If I needed them to pick the kids up, if I had a late meeting, but it's all about priorities. You
Mm.
know that you want this business to run. You need to first know what the business is, know how much this business costs, know what your budget should be, and live by it. Fortunately for me, all I needed was a computer and a printer. I started
Mhm.
out at the kitchen table, moved to the dining room table, then moved upstairs to my home office, which is still my home office.
Mhm.
And I didn't do a lot of things that would cost me so much money. I didn't rush out and get an office outside of my house. I didn't run and grab a new car to impress people. We were okay. I cooked,
Mhm.
I fixed lunch at home. The things that I did to meet with clients were very inexpensive. I did go to Starbucks. I'll treat
Mhm.
you to a cup of coffee. But
Mhm.
and also I was very careful with even that. Because one
Mhm.
thing you will learn when you're starting business and even when you're in business, people will waste your time.
Mhm.
Know who your client should be. I wrote down what my ideal client looked like, and I still adhere to that. If someone called me and they wanted a grant, if the first thing they said was, whoa, I don't have any money, you know what? Is that really your client? If that's the first thing out of their mouth, oh no. So,
That
so,
I love it.
what?
These are the real conversations,
Oh,
because
yes.
people don't want to talk about it. But
I
then
want you
mad
all
because
to
they
just
don't have any money at the end of the week. You see what I'm saying?
listen. We can't have that. So when they would say that, what I ended up doing was I had a list of people that I could refer them to. And I would
Mm.
say, hey, you know what? You may not be able to afford my services at this time. Let me refer you to such and such. And also,
Mm.
if they would say to me, well, I need you, to take a percentage of your money out of the grant because that's what my uncle told me that you could do. Okay, I don't know
Mm.
your uncle, and that might be how your uncle worked, but I don't work that way because
Right.
at the when I started, I was by myself, but
Mhm.
this is a whole nother conversation. I quickly realized that I couldn't do everything myself.
Amen.
But in terms of living off of one income, you can do it. We
Mhm.
spend a lot of money on some things that we really could kind of hold off on. I mean, look, I am a shopper. I love to shop. Amazon boxes do come to my house. But at the time, I knew, look, I need a nice suit to meet with people.
Mhm.
I
Mhm.
need to make sure I have ink in my printer.
Amen.
So, and I needed a dedicated phone line. When I first started out, ringtones were very popular. So I had a
Mhm.
ringtone on my phone. I was sitting with a potential client and that music started playing. Ding, ding, ding. This is not professional. I needed people to see me as a professional. So
Mm,
immediately they went to the restroom. I changed the ringtone back to just a normal tone. It's little things.
yeah.
It's little things, and you don't have to go out and spend all this money on cell phones. When I first started hiring people, everybody got a Metrophone. Everybody except me. They
Mhm.
are, really, you can do it if you properly budget. But the first thing is, what is your business? How much is this going to cost you? So I advise people, if you can, to start your business while you're working for someone else. But I give you a timeline. We work through
Mhm.
a whole for 1 year. We work on you going ahead, being able to resign just like I did. I don't want
Mhm.
anyone to feel like they need to quit their job. I know people talk about stepping out on faith, and I'm all about faith.
Mhm.
But I knew my babies had to be fed. I knew my babies had
Mhm.
to go to, daycare. And so I said, okay, no, sweetheart, I'm not going to quit. He kept saying, look, we've done this before. So let's just go ahead and, do it for a year. And so if
Mhm.
you all want to know how I did this, then, I will leave my information for you all to tune in to my podcast. Listen, I wouldn't dare even mention it right here, because this is my sister's show.
Hey,
And
you are
all
more than welcome to mention it. It takes a village, all
it
right? So,
does.
hey, and it's enough room for everybody, right? So,
Well,
yeah,
you know
share
what? You're right.
share with us your podcast.
Okay, sure.
Because
Well,
I'm like, look, I need to be listening.
my my podcast airs every Thursday at 7 p.m. on
Mhm.
YouTube. It's
Mhm.
called hashtag Bossdom. So you put the
Oh.
hashtag in, BOSSDOM. And the good thing is that it's produced by my amazing son, the one who just graduated from college. He produces it. That's his career.
Mhm.
Um, and you can always go to my website at kstbenterprises.com. I put lots of information there for you, lots of free information.
Mhm.
But I want you all to know, if you contact me and you say, look, I need to work with you to get this grant or to step out after a year from my full time job, I'm very nice. But I'm trying to make your dreams become a reality. So don't call me if you're not serious.
I love that.
And my
And
clients will tell you that, yes, you will work. You
I
will work.
love that. And
Mhm.
that is so true. I think a lot of times people forget that they have to be coachable.
Yes.
And if you have a coach, let's just use the analogy of a basketball team.
Hmm.
Those players are not sitting down and practice.
Oh,
Okay.
no.
They are
Mhm.
out there working. So I don't know why people think, oh, I got a coach.
Uh-uh.
I'm just going to clock in and get my money.
Yes.
I don't know what that's about. But we need to get them on the side of the physical training and
We
recognize
have
you got to
to.
do something.
Yes.
But I want to go to your son
Yes.
producing the show. So how did this happen? Was this a
Oh, my goodness.
vision of his or yours? How did that work with y'all
Oh,
working together?
well, I love to talk about my babies.
Mhm.
So, so my son at age 14, from watching me, I didn't realize this until he was interviewed somewhere. And he
Mm.
actually said this. From watching me, he was 14. He said, I've got to figure out something to do for myself. I want to be in business for myself. So he came to me and he said, Mommy, I want to be a DJ. And so I said, well, let's go talk to your dad. And my husband said, you know what? I'm not wasting a whole bunch of money on equipment. No, choose something else. Well, I'm mom.
Mhm.
And what did I do but buy him a little starter set? I want you to know he has never in his life worked at McDonald's, at Chick-fil-A, anywhere. He held his own, and he is his DJ name is DJ Crisis, and he has been busy doing parties, special events, weddings, just whatever. I positioned him to do more events other than these parties.
Mm.
But of course, he's young. He wants to do parties too. He's had jobs at specific clubs. And so the different schools hire him because he's young. He was Clark Atlanta University's DJ for their basketball team, all the basketball season, and their special events. So he learned how to do contracts because I sat with him. He's registered with the state of Georgia. Now he has to pay taxes. He's like, what is this? So
You are just, it sounds like we walking down the same path. We have a son who also is a DJ. So
oh,
he
good.
did good in school,
Yeah.
graduated, and we're like, he really didn't want to go to college. And so we're like,
Okay.
oh Lord, we take him to lunch one day and we're like, what do you want to do? But we knew it was something going on with him, right?
Yes.
We
Yes.
didn't know what he was going to say. And so he said, well, I really want to pursue music. I want to be a DJ. Me
Okay.
and my husband were like, is that all?
That's what
He had come
my
up with
husband was
all
like,
kinds.
what?
We didn't know what he was going to say. So yeah, so he produces music and
Yes.
everything. So that
Yes.
is just so good.
It's
Yeah.
amazing. It's to see them grow. And
Hmm.
when you talk about production, I was very fortunate, and I'll call his name. I was very fortunate that Chubb Rock of he's a a rapper,
Yeah.
met me and embraced me, and he actually wrote the foreword to my book.
Praise
And so,
God.
yeah, so we were at lunch one day and I was telling him about my son, and he was like, what do you mean? Why is he not up here with me? So my son had the opportunity to work under Simon and Chubb Rock.
Praise
And
God.
yeah, and my son now is with one of the XM, what do they call them? Yeah, XM radio stations. And so when I got ready to produce my podcast, he kept telling me, Mommy, you really need to do this podcast. You have so much to say, and people pay you to talk to them. I can't believe you're not, saying this on podcast. And I said, I don't know how to do it. He said, I got you. So he worked with my team because even though I started by myself, I have an amazing team. I couldn't do
Yeah.
any of the things that I do every day without them. So I want to shout out my staff at
Praise
KST
God.
Enterprises. They are amazing. And one of the proudest moments of my life was about 3 months ago when my son came on board as an official employee
Oh,
of KSTV. So if any of you need a podcast produced, or any type of music to go with anything, any beats, that's his thing.
that is
So
so amazing.
yeah,
Well,
but
I
that's
I
how we
love that.
started.
And that is
Thank
just so
you.
good because for a lot of parents, they're like, they want to be able to teach their children how to build a legacy. But
Yes,
one thing that I hear you saying is you allowed him to pursue what he wanted to do. You
yes,
know, we
yes.
kind of mess that up sometimes. We're like, do this.
Well,
This
yeah.
is where it pays. You know what I'm saying?
Well, I know exactly what you're saying. And just like you and your husband, when your son said he wanted to be a DJ, he didn't really want to go to college. My eyes got so big because my daughter is that way.
Okay.
She's like, well, I'm not. And I will just say this. It took me a minute to accept that because I grew up with my parents and grandmother saying, you will go to college.
Mhm.
So in my eyes, everyone must go to college. What are you
Mhm.
talking about? But
Right.
now they have so many different options. Very smart young people who
Mhm.
are making it on their own. They are thinking of ideas and doing well, which means that they are happy and satisfied.
Yes.
They are not stressed out because I'm sure we all have stories of jobs that we've worked where we're like, oh my God.
Don't even wanna go in, okay? Trying to come up with excuses. How many sick
Yes.
days do I have?
Right. And so I realize now that you don't have to be a college graduate, although I'm all about
Mhm.
education,
Yeah.
but you don't have to be a success. what it takes is determination, motivation. You have to believe in yourself and your business and whatever product you're selling, whatever service you're selling. You got to be all in. You've
So
got to
true.
be all in. Yes,
Yeah,
yes.
and you definitely have been an example of that. I mean,
Thank you.
the illustrations and insights that you have shared, I mean, they really, I hope people are taking notes because
Yes.
this is so important. And, you know, also just communication with our children. You know, I
Yes.
mean, it says a lot for your kids to want to do business with you and,
Yes.
you know, to
Yes.
work with your company and help you to build. I mean,
Mhm,
that's
mhm.
just that's just so impactful.
You
So
know,
what other tips would you give people in terms of, you know, building that type of legacy with their
yes.
children?
Yes, you said it best, communication. Keep
Mhm.
the lines of communication open. I will be honest. I had a closed mind about a couple of things that my daughter wanted to do, but
Mhm.
now I'm like, you know what? It's not a bad idea. And so I sat down and talked to her. My daughter and I are very close. My son and I are
Mhm.
very close, but she's a girl.
Yeah.
Well,
They try to
two,
tell you what to do.
two
You
girls.
I already know.
Yes, yes. So I have found that the best way to talk to that one is via text message. We are so close via text message. She can be right in her room and I'll just shoot her a text and we are
Right.
good to go.
So true. Girl, I got 9 daughters, so I
Oh,
already know.
nice.
Okay, it's drama every day
Oh,
of the week,
every
and
single day.
6 sons.
Oh,
So yeah,
girl,
so I
anointing.
know.
It's so much. And, I love her to pieces. She's absolutely beautiful. She's so smart. But she will have an idea. Oh, yeah, 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 this is a great idea. And I say, okay, go write this and bring it back to me. She's like, what? I just told you what it was. Faith without works is dead. I'm not doing
Amen.
this for you. I need you to put in some work. So every idea she's had, which are amazing, she won't go that next step. And what did I tell you?
Mm,
I don't play that.
I
If
love it.
you want me to invest in your business, well, then what is it? Yeah, you told me, but write it down. Whether you write it in your phone, you need to get it to me. And if you can't do that second step, then I'm done. I am so done. But I continue to encourage her. And every other day I said, that idea you had about such and such was really good. She said,
Mhm.
well, will you invest in it? I said, sure. Where's your stuff? And that's where it stops. One quick story. When the
Mhm.
pandemic started, I started sending candles to people. Just, I learned how to do the candles. It was so fun. It was so
Mhm.
relaxing. And I would send them, didn't charge, just thinking of you. Please take this candle. So
Mhm.
my daughter and I said, okay, we're going to try all these different fragrances. And she wanted to do, I don't know if I can say it's on the air, but she wanted to do CBD oil candles.
Oh, yeah,
You
yeah.
need to cut it fine. But oh my God, I
Girl,
said,
it's our
Lord,
reality now. Everything's CBD,
oh
okay?
yes. So I was like, oh my God, those things took off like hotcakes. I was giving them away. Pretty soon people started buying them. They wanted to buy.
Mhm.
So it's a
Okay.
whole nother business venture. So what I said was, Taylor, I can't do these candles all by myself. You were
Mhm.
helping me when it was a hobby. Why don't you come in business with me and you do the CBD line and I can do everything else? That lasted about 1 week. She didn't mind buying the CBD oil and bringing it to me. I'm standing over the hot
Right.
stove doing the candle. I was like, something's wrong with this
Something is
person.
wrong. And so your daughter's name is Taylor?
Yes.
I have a
Yes.
daughter named Taylor.
Oh, my girl. I love her to pieces. But honey, let me tell you,
I know.
that candle project, after a while, I had to let it go because I could not do KSTV and these candles all by
Right.
myself. I'm
Yeah.
having and shipping and all, it was just I'm boxing stuff up and oh my God, my hair going all over the place. It was just all too much.
Yes.
And
And
so
you bring up some good points. I mean, hey, we have to realize that, have them go the next step.
You
I
have to
love
go
that.
the next
That's
step.
even with adults. It don't even
Oh,
have to do
yes.
with children,
Yes.
And
Yes.
that's a good point because
Mhm.
everybody can talk,
Oh,
but are they going to take any action?
go the next step. Come to me.
Mhm.
Bring me your wonderful idea. I want to feed the homeless. I want to house veterans. Okay, I give homework and
Mhm.
deadlines. Now, I will admit, I'll allow you to miss like a day deadline, maybe even two. Hey, Miss
Mhm.
Kim, I know I'm supposed to have these pieces to you, but this came up and blah, blah. Okay, well, let me give you a little bit of an extension, but this is not going to become a habit. So if they
Mhm.
miss the second deadline, then they have a stern talking from me about whether
Mhm.
or not this is something that they are serious about. If you
I love
can't
that.
tell me what your mission statement is after I've given you all the points that you need, I've given you notes, we've discussed it, and you still can't give it to me, there's something wrong. Either I'm doing something wrong in communicating
Mm.
with you or you're not receiving. In all of my grant writing classes, because the thing is this, I love writing grants, but I believe in educating others. I told you education is important. At the
Mhm.
end of my class every week, the last slide says homework. And you can just hear the young people and older people going, oh, homework. Well, yeah. You
Yeah,
got to practice to perfect your craft.
I love that.
So
So
yeah, they have
that's
homework.
awesome. I love it. I mean, that's true because,
Hmm.
I think one of the things that people forget is that if you have a vision,
Hmm.
an idea, a business, or whatever, it's in your head.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
you have to put it somewhere
Got
where
you.
everybody can see what you're talking about.
You know,
Otherwise,
right,
you're talking a foreign language, and the more descriptive you are,
the
the
better.
more people can attach to that and be like, "Oh, let's say you wanna have a restaurant.
Yes.
Oh, okay, so you wanna do a restaurant. Well, I can help you cook
Mm,
because I can see myself in that
yes.
vision." But
Yes.
if you don't have
Yes.
anything to get started with, people are like, "Okay, I can't help you. I don't know what you talking about."
I advise people when they come to me, whether it's a for profit business or not for profit business. I started KSTV and I have that notebook from 2007. Every year I've started a new notebook. So on my bookshelf, um, all of my notebooks are there. Believe it or not, you won't remember these great programs and ideas that you have. So I
Yeah.
started a notebook when I first started the company, and with all of my clients, that's what I encourage them to do. I even give them notebooks with the tabs in it. And the tabs are, simple things such as your registration with the state, your articles of
Mhm.
incorporation, your bylaws, if you have a board of directors, your board minutes. All these things are
Mhm.
so important. Your financials, your marketing, your program ideas. And
Mhm.
you know what? Everyone, don't be afraid to fail. Don't be
Right.
afraid. Don't be afraid to fail. I had
Mhm.
a division, a scholarship division, where we were finding scholarships for high school students, for ones who wanted to go to technical colleges, 2-year colleges, or 4-year colleges. So I hired two people to run this division, and guess what? People didn't want to pay for it. So it wasn't time for that
Mhm.
division. Instead of wallowing in pity, I simply shut it down. I shut that division
Mhm.
down, found those employees other spaces in my company, and they're still with me to this day. But don't be afraid to fail. You'll try some things that you think is such an amazing idea, and it may not be time for that idea yet. So
Mhm.
that is a big section in one of my notebooks. I think it was in 2010.
Mhm.
And it was, it's okay. Yes, I was sad because I wanted these kids to have some of this free money that's out there. But you know what?
Mhm.
It ended up being a blessing because I got a phone call from a company who purchased my entire database. So, don't be afraid to fail. If
Mhm.
something doesn't work, that just means it's not going to work right now. But if you haven't written it down, trust me, you won't remember things. You
I
won't.
know that is so true
You will
because we have
not.
so many different ideas every day,
So
you know.
many
And
different
if you
ones.
remember them, then I'm wondering what you're doing because you must not be doing too much work or impacting very many people. You know what I mean? Or
Right.
reading or anything, right?
Yes, yes.
So
So
this is good.
it's
Yeah.
so important. So write it down. And if I
Mhm.
ask you for a list of your board of directors, and you sit there and say, well, it's me, and well, I might be able to. I'm like, you know what? Let's talk about what a board member is, what their
Mhm.
duties are, and what is expected of them from you. So
Mhm.
I try to get people, it's like going to therapy. You
Mhm.
know, when you go to a therapist, they really give you the ideas, that you have. If you have an issue, they're helping you work through your issue, but you
Mhm.
are really the one working through it. They
Amen.
lead you to it. And so then in your mind, you're like, oh wow, you know what, you're right. I think I need to leave this job, or I think I need to leave this relationship, or maybe me and her shouldn't be friends anymore. That's how therapists work. So I kind of lead you to things.
Mhm.
This is your baby. It's
Amen.
not my baby. It's your
Yeah.
baby. But you know what my team tells me is that I get so immersed in what my
Mhm.
clients are doing. They all feel like I'm a part of their team. And I want them to think that. I want them to
Mhm.
feel that way. But
Mhm.
at the end of the day, they have to work it. I support my
Mhm.
clients. All of our clients, we try to get them to work together
Mhm.
and help each other out. We have a dear client in Cobb County who has a hospice for children. And what
Mm.
she does is she pays all, well, she doesn't have a hospice program. She has a hospice supportive services program. And
Mhm.
she pays the rent, the utilities, have people to come over and clean houses. If your child, unfortunately, is going through hospice, she
Wow.
makes sure that all of your bills are paid. You have groceries, you have food, your utilities are paid, all of those things. So we have another client that's a mortuary. And so the
Mhm.
mortuary buries the children that are in her care.
Mm.
So I
Wow.
mean, it's a sad situation, but then they have turned it into a positive because when you are dealing
Collaboration.
with when you're dealing with illness, you don't want to have to come home and
Right.
clean up. So these parents come home, the house is clean, there's food. If they're off site, then she makes sure that they have everything that they need. And
Mhm.
so my clients know to collaborate. They will call me and say, hey, who can we work with on this? And another thing, KSTV supports our clients on our
Mhm.
website, on Twitter, just whatever. We support you because we want you to be a success.
Amen. I
We want
love
you
it.
to be a success. So, yeah.
Yes. Well, I have just enjoyed this conversation and
Me
I'm
too.
looking forward to us meeting in person and
I
really,
can't wait.
yeah, talking it up. And I'm definitely gonna reach out with and try to have our sons meet
That
because
would
they're
be amazing.
here and locally they can
Yes.
definitely have a lot of common. Okay,
Oh,
so
yes. Let's make
that'll be
sure we
great.
do that. And I can't
Hmm.
tell you how amazing you are.
Oh,
Thank you
thank
for
you.
all that you do. You are one of my absolute favorite people. Listen,
Oh,
I love when we connect on
mhm,
LinkedIn. And now that I see your beautiful face, I can't wait to see you in person. You are a
mhm.
superstar, girl.
Well, thank you so much. And I am just really excited to have had this conversation and really encourage a lot of women out here
Yeah,
who, they've got their own superpower,
yeah,
and a lot of times you got to get with the right people
that's
that
right.
can encourage you and get the right wisdom. I mean,
Yes,
these nuggets you dropped tonight, I'm hoping everybody was taking notes because it was definitely priceless. So I'm hoping that they not only write the nuggets down, but implement them because
yes,
that's really how you
implement.
can grow.
Yes, thank you.
So, what is the best way for the audience to get a hold of you then?
Sure. Our website is KSTB Enterprises.com.
Hmm.
And I learned the young people told me you don't have to say www every time. our, phone, our phone number is 770-756-7565. And you can email us at kstb at kstbenterprises.com.
Okay. Well,
Okay.
thank you so much for a
Thank
great
you.
time. We have really enjoyed it. And for those of you that are watching, reach out, have a conversation. If you have some questions, just put them in the comments. We'll be sure to make sure that we get those done, or, forwarded to Kimberly so she can answer those for you. But in the meantime, take action on some of these nuggets, because that is how we evolve and continue to be better versions of ourselves.
Yes.
So thank you guys so much for watching,
Thank
and we will see you all on the next episode.
Bye.
Bye for now.